The morning light grudgingly enters the thick courthouse windows, but inside, tension is almost overpowering. Kody Brown clutches the defense table, stiff with tension, hands clasped tightly in his lap, eyes jumping around the room with nervous energy. Next to him, Robyn fidgets, fingers drumming an agitated rhythm against the polished surface of the table. She refuses to meet anyone's eye, as if willing the room to disappear around her. On the opposite side of the aisle, Christine reclines in her chair, arms folded, cold, calculating gaze fixed on the couple she once trusted blindly. Her jaw is clenched, her eyes hard, and each crease on her face appears to yell at her in disbelief tempered with seething resentment. Janelle, conversely, sits nearly too still, hands folded primly on her lap, but behind her placid face there is a brewing storm, and it is about to erupt. The tension is palpable. It was almost as though you could see it weighing over the heads of every person in the room. The judge enters, his robes rustling quietly against the waxed floor, and the whole courtroom stands. The air crackles. Cameras cover the walls, recording every flicker of feeling, every telltale micro-expression that reveals secrets too long concealed. The silence which descends upon the room is not mere politeness, it is tension, expectation, a feeling that history is to be made in this room. Meri advances, her fingers grasping a wad of papers thick as her knuckles, white with strain. The space appears to constrict as she clears her throat, her voice shaking first but then gaining strength. Your Honor, the truth can no longer be denied. DNA evidence verifies long-standing suspicions that have plagued this family for years. Her eyes move around the room, landing on Kody and Robyn for a brief moment, a silent threat, a challenge. Kody squirms in his seat, his jaw clenching as if to keep in check the tidal wave of feelings about to break through. Robyn shoots him a look, eyes wide with dismay, her own composure starting to crack. Christine smiles quietly, subtly, almost imperceptibly, while Janelle's grip on her purse becomes more pronounced, as if preparing for collision. Each individual in that room senses it, the heavy feel of the moment, the gravity of a discovery that can crush the underpinning of a family and the lives woven into it. Meri starts to lay out her proof, piece by piece, with a measured, deliberate pace. To start, she has a chain of text messages that border on duplicity and clandestine correspondence. Then she shows photos, intimate, incriminating, impossible to overlook. At last, she produces financial documents, each page neatly spread out, each figure a quiet witness to clandestine transactions. The judge slouches forward, his eyebrows arched high, reading the documents with a cautious but unmistakable interest. He looks at Kody, then at Robyn, then at Meri, his eyes slitting ever so fine as the heft of the evidence comes crashing down around him. These papers, the judge responds, voice steady but firm, imply fraud at all levels. Can the defendants tell me why these measures were undertaken? Robyn leans forward to answer, and then her mouth drops shut again, the words remaining unspoken. Kody stands to speak, attempting to keep his cool, his voice controlled but with a hint of tension. Your Honor, we need to study this thoroughly. Charges like these have to be given serious consideration. Meri shakes her head very slightly, hardly at all, but it is pregnant with meaning. The truth she holds is heavier than words could ever make it, and she doesn't need to utter another word, the evidence is testament enough. The courtroom whisper is broken by a bailiff passing a folder marked, DNA results, confidential, to the judge. The judge opens it delicately, and the room falls silent once more, but more heavily this time, as if the air is suspended in anticipation. A sheet of paper is waved high, and the figures on it appear suspended there, casting shadows across those in the room. The seriousness of what they are saying crushes down on us like a material burden. Robyn covers her mouth with her hands, wide-eyed with shock. Kody swallows, his face pale, a bead of sweat at his temple. Christine leans forward, narrowing her eyes, struggling to reconcile the facts with the picture of Kody she has known for decades. Janelle closes her eyes for a moment, exhaling slowly as if preparing to take the impact, fearing the truth she can see coming. The judge glances up from the document, voice firm but laced with incredulity. This evidence confirms the unthinkable. Meri's gaze flicks briefly to Kody, a mixture of pain and vindication in her eyes. The camera pans slowly across the courtroom, capturing each face, every reaction a mixture of fear, shock, anger, and sorrow. The tension is almost unbearable, a living thing pressing in on everyone like a storm about to break. Abruptly, there's a creak at the door to the courtroom. Everyone's gaze is attracted by the entrance of a figure they'd not anticipated seeing here today. Their arrival causes ripples among the gathered family members, a silent question: what do they know, and how will it turn everything around? Kody shifts uncomfortably, Robyn's hands shaking in her lap, and Christine leans in, a flash of interest and wariness in her eyes. Even Janelle's mouth-shut calm starts to crack as the newcomer edges toward the front of the court. The bailiff leans over and says something to the judge, who gestures for the new arrival to come up to the stand. The tension is thick, and each heartbeat seems to ring in the huge room. The man slowly drops his coat, standing before the court as a former insider, one who has intimate knowledge of family secrets and previous manipulations. Gasp waves among the courtroom and the audience watching on television. Meri stands up, her voice asserting itself as she speaks to the judge. Your Honor, this witness has personal knowledge of secret actions which contradict directly the testimony provided by the defendants. We feel that their testimony is key to discovering the complete truth. Kody shifts again, his face tightening as he struggles to keep himself under control. Robyn's eyes brim with tears, her control wavering further. Christine sits back, her face a blend of satisfaction and vindication, and Janelle has her fingers curled around the edge of the chair, every muscle tense with expectation. The insider steps forward, their very presence demanding attention. The room grows still again. Cameras snap and flash, recording tension and unbridled emotion suspended in the atmosphere like impenetrable fog. The witness speaks, voice firm but conveying gravity. I witnessed things no one should have had to see. Kody has spun everyone around his finger, and the lies are more profound than you have any idea. The courtroom responds immediately. Christine huddles forward, eyes shining. Finally, someone speaks the truth, she whispers. Kody stands up, voice shaking, trying to regain control. These are lies, he says, and you know it. But the witness holds up another set of documents, undeniable proof, secret bank statements, text messages, communications showing Robyn's involvement in decisions meant to obscure the truth. The room seems to shrink with the intensity of the revelations, the air electric with tension and disbelief. Robyn starts to weep quietly, clutching the edge of the table as Meri's gaze pierces her like a silent blade. The judge waves for quiet, although he appears as wide-eyed as anyone else, and the gravity of the instant bears down on every face in the room. The air is thick with anticipation, like a live wire sparking along beneath skin. The DNA results are finally read out. Whispers turn to gasps, murmurs to gasps. All the reactions are filmed in clip-on detail: Robyn's tears, Kody's tight jaw, Christine's scrunched eyes, Janelle's whispered horror. The room holds its collective breath as the numbers are spoken, confirming suspicions, proving betrayal, exposing hidden truths. The judge leans back, exhaling slowly. This evidence, he says, voice low but resolute, changes the entire landscape of this case. Meri's hands shake slightly, but her voice remains steady. Your Honor, this is only the beginning. The full extent of the deception will become clear as the court proceeds. The courtroom is immobilized, the suspense unbearable. Each member of the family knows, things will never be the same. Trust, loyalty, and love, all tested and found wanting. The courtroom hardly has time to recover from the shock of the DNA bombshell before the enigmatic insider emerges. Their mere presence is enough to quell murmurs, camera clicks, and shuffling feet. The entire room is subject to the pressure of anticipation. Cameras track every movement, every finger twitch, every blink that could reveal fear or guilt. Meri's gaze is unwavering, filled with quiet determination, a woman ready to face years of deception head-on. Kody and Robyn sit rigid, the tension radiating off them like heat, as if the walls themselves were pressing them into their seats. The insider clears their throat. I have been part of this family's inner workings for years, they begin, their voice measured but steady. I've witnessed actions that should have remained private, decisions made in secrecy, and manipulations that affected every member of this family. Their eyes flick toward Kody, piercing, unflinching. And now, the truth must be told. Christine leans forward in her chair, her face contorting. Finally, she mutters under her breath, satisfaction and disbelief. Finally, the truth comes out. Kody stands, struggling to keep his cool, but his voice betrays him. These are false accusations. They're blown out of proportion, and you know it, he argues, eyes scanning the room, then focusing on Meri. His confident air falters, replaced by the unmistakable tension of a man in a corner. Robyn's hands grasp the table edge, breathing irregular. The insider dips into their folder and produces documents, placing them tenderly on the evidence table. Photographs, bank statements, and private messages, one more incriminating than the last. The room springs into life, whispers turn to gasps. Even the judge slouches forward, brow furrowed, reading each item of evidence as if attempting to take in the enormity of the secrets presented. This, the source continues, voice gaining a slight raise, demonstrates the level of manipulation, backdoor deals, and decisions made without openness. These are facts. They can't be disregarded. Robyn covers her mouth, shaking, as Christine smirks quietly in triumph. Janelle's calm facade starts to crumble, she gasps harshly, her fingers tightening over the creases of her dress. Kody rakes a hand through his hair, attempting to compose himself, but each movement betrays the tension. Then the insider delivers the bombshell, a series of communications that leave no doubt about Robyn's direct participation in decisions intended to conceal the truth. Kody had always been the culprit when it came to secrecy, but now it becomes evident that Robyn was also in on it, and the courtroom feels the shock as a palpable pulse. The judge rubs his nose, reading over the papers. This testimony, he states, voice firm but tinged with incredulity, needs careful consideration. The ramifications are profound. Meri leans forward, her voice unflinching. Your Honor, what this witness is testifying to is merely the tip of the iceberg. The depths of subterfuge extend much farther than was previously known, and the DNA evidence is merely one aspect of the solution. Christine, unable to contain herself, rises slightly, her voice sharp and tinged with emotion. We've all seen signs, but no one wanted to admit it. Now the truth is out, and it's painful, for all of us. Kody swallows hard, trying to regain his composure. This is being blown out of proportion, he insists, though the tremor in his voice betrays him. You're all making assumptions based on incomplete evidence. The insider tilts forward, her voice measured but biting. The evidence is conclusive. You might want to deny it, but facts don't go away. Each action, each secret message, each financial anomaly leads to one inescapable truth: the trust in this family has been repeatedly broken, and the price is harsh. Robyn starts to cry softly, placing her hands over her face. Kody's jaw clenches, and he fidgets in his seat, tension visible almost physically. Christine seethes, teeth gritted, and Janelle breathes slowly, attempting to grasp the whirlwind of disclosures. The judge holds up a hand for silence, but even he appears disturbed at the intensity of the revelations. The insider's evidence becomes increasingly incriminating, exposing former manipulations that had cut into the family's money, choices regarding the kids, and intimate betrayals that no one in the courtroom had completely known about. Every disclosure hits like a punch, and the room winces in unison. The insider lays a tiny envelope on the podium, stamped with the words, "Confidential, for court only." The judge lifts it up, studying it intensely before opening it gingerly. There is a silence in the room as everybody leans in, gaze fixed on the contents. Inside are letters that verify what no one had the courage to admit: evidence of a secret relationship, covert financial transactions, and direct complicity of Robyn in choices that impacted the lives of several family members. The room gasps. Robyn's hands shake as she looks at Kody, who is frozen in shock. Christine's lips compress into a thin line, and Janelle's eyes open wide in shock. Even the media crews capture every beat, every emotion, and transmit it to an audience that feels each stab of betrayal. The judge holds up his hand again, struggling to keep order. This court, he states, voice steady but firm, must take these revelations seriously. The testimony, along with the DNA evidence, indicates widespread dishonesty. All concerned must prepare for further interrogation and scrutiny of the facts. Meri takes a slow breath, relief and fatigue both playing across her face. She understands that the battle is far from won, but also that the truth is at last being observed and heard. Kody and Robyn share a look, an unspoken recognition of the tempest that now engulfs them, as Christine settles back, satisfaction and residual hurt in her eyes. Janelle sits tense, as if holding her breath for the next salvo of revelations. Suddenly the insider leans forward, voice dipping slightly to make sure every ear is attuned. There is one thing more, they say, with a dramatic pause. Something which will alter not just the image of this family but the lives of all the people in this courtroom. It concerns the children. There is a general shiver that seems to run through the room. The gravity of the revelation is almost palpable. Robyn gasps in silence, her hand darting to her mouth, while Kody's face goes white even more. Christine and Janelle share glances of shock and alarm, understanding that the stakes are even higher now. The insider goes on to describe specifics that indicate differences in parental accounts, mismanagement, and choices that have impacted the well-being of the children. Every word falls with accuracy, driving home the depth of the treachery. The room seems about to cave in under pressure. The judge orders a quick recess, indicating that the ferocity of the testimonies demands consideration. As the courtroom clears marginally, the entire room shares strained looks, muttering beneath hurried breaths. The media team hums with anticipation, aware they are witnessing history. Meri sits silently, allowing the reality to register, as Kody relaxes back in his chair, his own face a blanched look of shock and terror. Robyn's silent tears fall on, and Christine clamps her jaw firm with determination. Janelle sits motionless, staring at the papers that are spread before her, her mind taking in every horrifying detail. As the session comes to an end, the feeling of foreboding drama lingers in the air. Everyone there realizes that today's revelations are just the tip of the iceberg, and tomorrow's session will go even deeper into secrets buried for decades. The courtroom seems to stand on the brink of chaos. All of those in the room know that the walls might crash down under the pressure of betrayal and lies. Kody is seated at the defense table, stiff and pale, his hands crossed on the table in front of him as if he is physically holding himself together. Next to him, Robyn dabs at her eyes with a shaking hand, her cool nearly broken. Christine leans forward, elbows resting on her knees, eyes blazing with a combination of anger, vindication, and incredulity. Janelle sits up straight now, her calm mask cracking, showing tension that has been building for weeks. The judge slams the court to order, the gavel ringing out authoritatively, but even he is powerless to conceal the tension that has crept over the space. "We will continue," he declares, voice firm, but his gaze lingering on the papers and evidence spread out before him, well aware of the tempest that has been brewed. Meri approaches, her eyes unblinking, voice steady but with a tremble. "Your Honor, I would like to introduce the next set of proof, communications, financial dealings, and testimony statements, that show the extent of the deception engineered by the defendants." She pauses for dramatic effect so the impact of her words can sink in for everyone involved. Christine can't keep quiet. "We all knew things were bad," she grumbles, voice cutting, but nobody wanted to own up to it. To see it all out in the open is appalling and necessary. Kody rises to respond, his voice quivering despite his attempt to sound authoritative. "These claims are exaggerated, misleading. You're taking pieces of information out of context," he insists. Robyn glances at him, eyes wide, a silent question hanging between them. Is it too late to repair the damage? The insider, remaining on the stand, inclines forward, taking presence over the room. "Context is only so important," they offer, voice calibrated but sharp. "Facts don't lie. And the facts here demonstrate the deception, manipulation, and betrayal have existed for years. Every action has a consequence, and the truth cannot be rewritten." Meri then creates a string of photographs, well composed, each one capturing moments Kody and Robyn had wished would stay private. There are gatherings of family and friends where, during whispered asides, plans behind closed doors are implied, financial records detailing transfers designed to cloud responsibility, and confidential letters disclosing secret thoughts heretofore unknown. The courtroom responds in unison, a wave of whispers, gasps, and low moans of shock run through the room. Robyn trembles, covering her face with her hands, attempting to conceal the shock and shame. Kody shifts, sweat forming on his temples, jaw clenched, eyes hastily darting from one wife to another. Christine leans back in her chair, arms crossed, her face a combination of triumph and residual pain. Janelle exhales, looking down at her clasped hands as if preparing herself for the next strike. The judge scans the papers, nodding but remaining calm in voice. "This is disturbing," he says. "The evidence that has been shared so far creates a disturbing picture of behavior. The court will have to examine all testimony with care before making any ruling." Meri takes a step closer, her voice firming. "Your Honor, there's one final piece that exposes the emotional manipulation this family has suffered, emails and messages indicating not only dishonesty but outright interference in relationships between wives and their children. The threads are consistent, and they are calculated." Christine is unable to suppress her indignation. "We all knew something wasn't quite right," she states, her tone tinged with indignation, "but seeing the actual communications, the manipulation, it's tragic. And yet it is gratifying to have it finally acknowledged in court." Kody stands up, trying to defend himself, but the crushing weight of the accumulating evidence makes his arguments ring hollow. "This is being taken out of context," he complains, but the shake in his voice betrays his conviction. Robyn leans forward, her voice trembling. "Kody, we can't ignore the evidence," she whispers. The courtroom is on edge, each passing second dragging its heels like an eternity. Then Meri comes out with another batch of documents, secret recordings and letters that reveal talks between Kody and Robyn, affirming complicity in prior decisions blamed exclusively on Kody. The responses are instant, gasps, murmurs, and looks of surprise travel through the room. Janelle finally speaks up, her voice firm but laced with indignation. "We all knew, but I never suspected it would be like this. Deception, lies, and manipulation, it's been going on, and we were in the dark." Christine leans forward, her eyes furrowed. "How was it possible for them to betray us, betray the family all these years?" The air between the wives is charged, the courtroom is a pressure cooker of emotions, shock, rage, grief, and relief all swirling in the air. Meri's voice pierces the tension. "The truth hurts not because it is loud or dramatic. It hurts because it is real. And the reality we are confronting is one of betrayal, manipulation, and deceit that cannot be denied." Kody shifts restlessly, trying to get his composure together again, but it is evident the walls are closing in. Robyn's hands tremble as she holds them before her, struggling to maintain composure. Christine's glare is relentless, and Janelle sits, clenching her jaw, preparing for what is coming next. The insider leans in, speaking in calm but authoritative tone. "There is one last piece of proof," they tell us, pushing a folder across the stand. "It has communications, financial transactions, and evidence of direct intrusion in personal lives which harms not only the wives but the children. The court needs to see this to know the extent of the fraud." The judge lifts the folder and opens it gingerly. The papers within tell a pattern of deceit, secret motives, and manipulation at all levels. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Robyn goes white, Kody clenches his jaw, and Christine leans forward, her eyes narrowed. Janelle releases a sharp breath, tension nearly a tangible thing. Media crews record each response, each unspoken gasp, every micro-expression of emotion. The courtroom is heavy with the weight of the revelation. Each witness, document, sob, and gasp reinforces the feeling that nothing will be the same again. Meri rises, voice steady, eyes shining with determination. "Your Honor, this evidence establishes beyond doubt the lies, manipulation, and betrayal that have been visited upon the whole family. The secrets taken in darkness have consequences that must not be overlooked. Kody tries to stand, attempting to stand up for himself, but his words fail. These allegations, they're exaggerated, he continues weakly. Robyn leans in, whispering, we can't deny it anymore. Christine explodes, tears brimming, voice thick with frustration and anguish. I can't believe we trusted them. All this time, we were being manipulated, lied to, and now, it's all in front of us. Janelle's hands tremble ever so slightly as she holds the edge of her chair. The room is perfectly still, its collective breath being held as the judge observes the evidence, the reactions, and the growing tension. The burden of the family's history, the betrayals, and the suffering threatens to become overwhelming. Next, the judge clears his throat, voice firm but commanding attention. The court acknowledges the seriousness of these disclosures. We will continue to deliberate on all evidence, testimony, and documents thoroughly. It is evident that the issues at stake have impacted not only the relationships but the very core of this family. The session comes to an end, but the tension does not abate. It lingers in the air, heavy and choking, as all realize that the next session will cut even deeper into the betrayals, secret plots, and emotional ruin. The air in the courtroom is heavy with tension as the hearing starts. The past depositions, the DNA surprises, and the whistleblower's incriminating proof have everyone on tenterhooks. Kody is seated at the defense table, face white, fists tightly locked in front of him. Robyn stands next to him, silently crying with tears streaming down her cheeks, her demeanor broken. Christine bends forward, elbows on knees, eyes narrowed, jaw clenched, a storm of emotion barely contained. Janelle sits still, but her body is tense, hands clenched in front of her, her mind racing with what she knows is about to happen. The judge bangs the gavel once, sharply, calling the court to order. We will continue, he says, his voice firm. The evidence so far has been disturbing. Today, the court will hear additional testimony that could illuminate and build on past discoveries. His gaze sweeps around the room, resting on Kody and Robyn. Even he appears to recognize that the air is thick with tension. Meri moves forward, her voice firm but carrying, ringing out across the room. Your Honor, I'd like to enter evidence which not only documents deception and manipulation, but also the emotional costs of these actions to all members of this family. The cost has been deep and lasting, taking a toll on relationships, trust, and the very essence of the family. She stands holding up a folder, her hands not shaking even in the high-stakes moment. Christine is unable to stifle her frustration. We've all known there were problems, she says, voice shaking with suppressed fury. But I never thought it could be this deep. It's painful, humiliating, but needed for the truth to surface. Kody stands, voice trying to sound authoritative but breaking. These accusations are being taken out of context. They are false and designed to elicit emotional reactions, he insists. Robyn looks at him, eyes wide, tears shining in the lights of the courtroom. There is tension between them, a unspoken recognition of mutual guilt and fear. The insider takes the stand again, their arrival commanding notice as usual. Your Honor, what has been presented is compelling evidence. It is intentional, careful, and irrefutable. Every choice, every coded communication, every transaction corresponds to an unavoidable reality. Deception and manipulation have been the heart of the defendant's behavior. Meri then pulls out another batch of papers, secret letters, emails, and messages, each one carefully documenting the intricate network of secrets Kody and Robyn have kept for years. The room responds with lightning speed, gasps, mutters, and shocked faces spread like fire. Even the judge leans forward, taking in the gravity of the news. The insider holds up an envelope labeled, confidential, family documents. The judge takes it carefully, then opens it. The contents inside prove secret alliances, secret financial arrangements, and manipulations by both Kody and Robyn. The courtroom gasps as one. Robyn's face goes white, her hands flying up to her mouth. Kody swallows hard, jaw clenched, hands shaking ever so slightly. Christine leans in, her eyes wide, and Janelle's stoic front crumples as she takes in the appalling details. The insider's voice elevates slightly. This is not speculation. This is factual evidence, corroborated and verified. The defendant's actions have had long-term effects on the family, relationships, and trust. The court needs to see the full extent before continuing. The air is thick with tension. Robyn starts sobbing softly, her shoulders quivering. Kody sits stiffly, his eyes fixed on the papers as if he could make them vanish. Christine's expression is one of agony and vindication, and Janelle grips her chair hard, ready for the worst to come. Meri inches nearer the judge, speaking in a calm but firm voice. Your Honor, the fraud has crossed the line from out-and-out lies. It has influenced choices, changed relationships, and eroded the trust each family member had in Kody and Robyn. The court needs to consider these actions as a whole to grasp their effect fully. The judge nods slowly, recognizing the gravity. The court will take this evidence into account carefully, he adds, voice measured, although a thread of disbelief can be detected. The implications are significant, and the emotional impact on all concerned must not be forgotten. Christine stands, her voice sharp and emotional. We've all been blind, she says. We've all ignored the signs. And now, seeing the truth laid bare, it's painful but liberating. Finally, the deception is being acknowledged in front of everyone. Kody stands up, trying to restore order, but his voice is shaking. This is exaggerated, he mutters. Robyn leans in, her voice barely audible. We can't keep it a secret anymore. Silent tears still fall from her eyes, a tangible proof of the shame and remorse that fill her. The courtroom is charged, every beat making itself heard, every movement amplified. And then comes another new revelation. The insider creates a series of recordings, intimate discussions between Kody and Robyn, that establish complicity in every move heretofore thought to be the sole domain of Kody. The courtroom grows quiet as the recordings unfold. Whispers abound, but no one utters a word over the stunning recordings. The recordings show that choices affecting the children's upbringing and familial dynamics were reached in secrecy with calculated deliberateness. Christine's eyes open in shock, and Janelle closes her own eyes for a moment, slowly exhaling, taking in the stakes. Kody remains frozen, clenched jaw, white-knuckled grip on the table. Robyn's face bleaches white, tears streaming down. The judge clears his throat, an indication of the gravity of the moment. This court acknowledges the seriousness of these actions. The betrayal, manipulation, and secrecy in these recordings cannot be overlooked. His eyes scan the room, pausing on Kody and Robyn. The court will consider all this as we move forward, making sure the truth is completely understood prior to any judgments being handed down. Meri's voice cuts through the tension, calm but resolute. Your Honor, this evidence is only the tip of the iceberg. The emotional, financial, and relational manipulation has been systematic and deliberate. The court must consider the full scope of the betrayal. Christine stands again, voice trembling with emotion. It hurts to see the truth, she says, but it also feels necessary. Justice, even in small measures, begins with acknowledgement of the reality we've been living in. Robyn's voice trembles as she tries to argue her defense. I did not mean for it to come to this, she says softly, while the circumstantial evidence against her is clear. Kody does not speak, his normally assured self temporarily stripped from him as only regret and terror are left. The informant scoots forward, laying one last bit of proof on the table, a secret letter implicating a former trusted family advisor in the scam. The courtroom gasps in unison. Each member of the Brown family responds differently. Robyn shakes, Kody swallows, Christine scowls, and Janelle's hands quiver slightly. The judge reads the letter slowly, citing important phrases. The words validate years-old suspicions, reveal secret alliances, and place a spotlight on choices that have forever changed the family's trust. The TV crews record every response: tears, gasps, aghast faces, and silent anger. Meri takes a step back, her eyes scanning the room. The truth is here, she says gently but firmly. It has been made known, and it cannot be refused. All members of this family have the right to know what has really occurred. Kody's voice ultimately shatters, barely above a whisper. I don't know what to say, he pleads. Robyn still sobs, looking for solace but finding none. Christine breathes sharply, relief and residual anger in her face. Janelle is still tightly wound, as if waiting for the next burst of revelations. The gavel comes down lightly, and the judge ends the session. This court will examine all evidence introduced today, he says. We will convene again with additional testimony and clarification as necessary. The breadth of deception brought to light today is great and will take some time to consider carefully. As the courtroom starts to clear a bit, whispers and hushed exchanges permeate the air. The family members share strained glances, knowing that the next hearing will delve even deeper into betrayal, secrets, and emotional destruction.